Hi everybody, I'm Mike, and this is the Stanley Parable. So,
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
what? How do I even get up here? Oh.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Then in that case, we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky.
Oh.
Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Yes? Hello? Mr. Narrator? I'd like to get by now. Well, fine then.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Wait, how did I make it to the other side before?
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along.
Yes.
He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary
Quite.
into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want. Like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit.
I guess he's right.
These points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
Okay.
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly.
Ooh.
What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. You too will become quite unbearable.
This is wonderful. I am a huge fan of this. I'm waiting to see if there are more lyrics. Huh, I wonder how long this loops. Do, do, do. Ooh. Do, do, do. Okay. Oh, that was great. What? What?
His co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
The layout is completely different. Okay. How incredibly strange.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
What is going on? Okay. Can I get back into my office? No. Okay, well, apparently that's another ending. Strange.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay. I'm gonna do that. I have an idea about what we should
Yet
do.
there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
See, I have an idea about what we should do when
Coming
we
to
get
a
to the boss's
staircase,
office.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
I wanted to actually leave here. Can I get out of here? No. No, I guess I can't. This is actually not what I would have wanted to do here.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job.
I don't know what I'm going to do differently here.
Now, when for years it had never occurred to him. This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Well then.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
You know what? I'm going to just start the game again. Because I wanted to try something different.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
Is there any way to get across?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
I'm
well.
aware of that.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I wonder if there's like a way back. No? Oh, okay. Because I was almost certain that I saw in like the museum something that showed that you could go back.
Ah, yes, truly
Yes,
a
the
room
employee
worth
lounge.
admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Well, here's the place that we don't come very often.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the
Whoops.
story and no one gets to tell him what to do,
Didn't mean to do that. Let's try that again.
a soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started. And if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
That's interesting.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes. This room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
I don't think I've ever heard that variation
But
before.
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Sorry to break it to you, Stanley, but that lift isn't coming back. You'd best either get comfortable right here on this platform, or test your luck by jumping to the floor below. You know what? Looking at it now, it's not that far to the bottom floor. I bet you can make it.
Oh my. Okay.
Come on. I'm sure you'll survive the jump. Don't tell me you're scared. That's not the Stanley I know. Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it!
No, there's a penalty. I'm going to wait. Skibbity bop boo. Ooh, deep deep bit bit dabba boo buzz bit bada boo boo. How? Yeah. Doop doop zibbity deep beep boobity badap bop bitty badoo. Beep beep.
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Anyway, we are going to leave it right here for now. If you like this episode or you just want to support the series, feel free to go ahead and click on the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed and you feel like that's something that you may want to do, feel free to do that as well. If you have any positive or negative feedback, feel free to leave it in the comment section down below. If you want to join me on Facebook or on Steam, you can do that by clicking on one of the links in the description down below, and it should bring you right to where you need to go. But I've been Mike, you've been you, and this has been The Stanley Parable. And thanks very much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.